kings and queens, I hope you're doing well and welcome to the channel. So today is another property related video for you, and today we're going to be discussing townhouses. Now the reason I wanted to do a complete video dedicated to townhouses is because I just didn't know how much I loved townhouses until I started viewing properties. I now live in a townhouse. We moved into this townhouse 6 months ago, so I think I've been able to fully understand, well not fully, but definitely understand to a certain degree what it is like to live in a townhouse. And when my husband and I were considering kind of like what properties to look at, I think we just both fell in love with townhouses because to us they just felt so big. Coming from living in a flat, I lived in a flat which didn't even have any stairs, so literally everything was all on one level. Moving to a townhouse just felt like I was moving into a mansion, so I definitely fell in love with townhouses. If you saw previous videos on my channel, I actually brought you along the journey of viewing another townhouse that we went to go and see, so check out that video if you haven't seen it previously. But yeah, I've realised that I love townhouses. So why I'm making this video today, if you are if you are looking for a home to buy and you're at the process where you're actually viewing properties and you're considering townhouses, I'm going to share a lot of information that you would find useful about townhouses. In case you don't actually know what a townhouse is, because I didn't even know what they were called before this whole house buying journey. So townhouses are they're usually 3-story houses or potentially even 4-story houses. They're called townhouses because back in the olden days, they were built to enable people to have second homes near the towns that they worked in. So people would have their primary residence in the country and then having a second home in the city, basically near the town or in the town. It enabled families to live not too far from where they worked, and it was, I guess, primarily for people who were able to afford having more than one home, so like for the wealthy people. But over the years, I guess the townhouses have become more common, and you can find townhouses in so many different parts of the country. And I've got a list here because there are so many things to consider if you're thinking about moving into a townhouse. If you are used to seeing townhouses on like Zoopla, Rightmove, etc., you've probably noticed that they look quite narrow, because they tend to be quite narrow, generally speaking. They're really good for property developers or the landowners, to be fair, because they don't take up as much space as, I guess, like semi-detached houses or other types of terraced houses, because the main intent is to build upwards rather than to build horizontally. So they do tend to be quite narrow because of that. And they do tend to be built in terraces actually. So a lot of the pros of the pros and cons of terraced houses by default will apply to townhouses that are built in a terrace. So if you haven't done so already, please go back and watch my videos about the pros and cons of terraced houses, like end of terrace houses compared to mid-terrace houses, because a lot of that information applies to townhouses as well. The stairs are, I guess, a major factor of townhouses because they tend to have 3 floors or even 4 floors. Most people say that the stairs of townhouses are a negative because having to climb up so many flights of stairs tends to be quite onerous and annoying for a lot of people. Myself personally, I think having lots of stairs is a good thing because I work from home and it means I don't actually get out the house much, so this is like my only way of being able to keep up on my exercise and get lots of steps in. So for me, the stairs are a good thing, but if you're adverse to exercise or moving about, the stairs may be something that may be really annoying for you. Having lots of stairs is a bad thing in terms of mobility. Like if you have mobility issues, perhaps a disability, or if you're quite old in age, or you tend to have elder relatives coming to visit, the flights of stairs may become an issue for you. Similarly, if you or when you get pregnant as well, during the latter parts of your pregnancy, climbing up and down those stairs probably will become an issue at some point. So the amount of stairs can definitely put people off when it comes to townhouses or 3-story houses in general. So definitely have a think about that. That's why older people tend to be put off by townhouses, more generally speaking, because it just doesn't really work for older people. And even for young kids, actually, having 3 flights of stairs may not be the best thing. So yeah, just definitely have a think about what the number of stairs may mean in terms of getting around. And I'm always praying that I don't ever break my leg or sprain my ankle, because if that happens, having to climb up like all of these stairs is going to be a massive issue. They're less likely to have a front garden when you compare them to like other types of houses, and also the rear garden as well tends to be smaller than the garden size you will get with other types of houses. So if gardens are like top priority for you when it comes to buying a house, townhouses may not be for you. Also, the layout of townhouses is a major factor for people. So townhouses, they definitely differ in layout. Sometimes when you have a townhouse, you may have only a kitchen on the ground floor, or you may have like a utility room and a shower room on the ground floor, and potentially even a bedroom on the ground floor, and then your kitchen and your lounge may be on the first floor, the middle floor. So yeah, the layout of townhouses is, I guess, the main thing that you will hear people talking about when it comes to townhouses. And what I would say is that, you know, if your lounge is on the ground floor, like if your kitchen and lounge are on the ground floor, it therefore mirrors more traditional houses, and that is definitely a plus if you happen to find a townhouse where both the lounge and the kitchen are on the ground floor, because it means that it's fewer stairs for you to climb up. You can just enter your house, go straight to the kitchen. You don't need to be climbing stairs when you have like tons of shopping that you've come back with, and it means it's very easy access to the garden. You probably will make a lot more use of the garden because it's easier for you to access if the living space is on the ground floor. And yeah, I think people just tend to prefer it if the living space is on the ground floor. And then related to that is, by having the living space on the ground floor means that less noise travels up to the bedrooms. So I have seen online people complain about townhouses when the living room is on the middle floor, because it means the noise from the TV, the laughter from your family, etc. is able to, I guess, be more easily heard if, you know, there is a bedroom on the same floor as the living room, or the bedrooms are on the floor immediately above the living room. So the advantage of having the living space or the lounge on the ground floor means that that noise is less likely to travel up and disturb you in your bedroom. And that, I guess, is really important, especially if you happen to be a shift worker or you work like late nights, etc. You don't want to be disturbed by TVs, people laughing and joking in the kitchen or in the lounge. So definitely the layout of a townhouse is pivotal. It's crucial in terms of deciding what kind of townhouse you may want to buy. I mentioned the lounge being on the ground floor. Sometimes the kitchen of a townhouse is on the middle floor, which again may create a lot of noise, you know, plates and pots clanking around, etc. You may not want to be hearing that from your bedroom. So the layout is really key. And to be honest, townhouses are less attractive, generally speaking, if their lounge and stroke or kitchen are on the middle floor. A lot of townhouses do have their lounge or their main living space on the middle floor, so on the first floor. This may not be the best for guests, and also if you have young kids as well, it may not be easy for you to be able to watch your kids if you are like downstairs in the kitchen and your kids are playing upstairs. you know, I guess it's just easiest when both the kitchen and the like dining living space are all on the same floor. I think it is good when it comes to security when the living room is on the middle floor, because you know, your massive TV, all of those really expensive tech things in your house, they're not easily accessed by being on the ground floor. So I think townhouses that may be a plus for townhouses when it comes to security. It may not be as easy for burglars to be able to get their hands on your goods. Getting furniture up a townhouse is, honestly, it's so painful. When we bought our sofa, they couldn't get it up the stairs, so they had to actually take the sofa back, and we had to get a furniture splitter. So we actually paid someone to split our furniture so that they can come back and get the sofa up the stairs. So that was really, really annoying, because it meant having to fork out extra money in order to pay a furniture splitter. And I've heard this from other people as well, people having to get their sofas through a window, or having to change their furniture purchase options because, you know, their bed couldn't get up the stairs or their sofa couldn't get up the stairs, etc. So getting furniture up the stairs in a townhouse definitely can be an issue. Another con I've got here as well is the lack of windows. So you probably are aware, but the likelihood of you having windows in the bathrooms of your townhouse is slim to none. Most townhouses do not have windows in their bathrooms, in their en-suites, and that obviously is a negative when it comes to damp and like airing out the bathroom. So not saying that every single townhouse doesn't have windows in their bathrooms, but it's rare to have windows in your bathroom, so just consider that, because it also means as well that there's less light coming into your bathroom. So it may make putting on your makeup harder, and I think it's a bit of a bummer when it comes to townhouses, to be fair. So definitely take that into consideration. Also, townhouses tend to have less storage compared to more traditional houses, so they may not have as many cupboards or like wardrobe space as more traditional housing options. So if you are a family that has tons of possessions, that like to store things, townhouses may not be a great option, especially if they don't have a garage that you can use as a storage space. So think about that. Also, you are more likely to feel overlooked by living in a townhouse compared to living in, I guess, a semi-detached house or a detached house, because they're most likely, most of townhouses are in a terrace. If there is any basic maintenance that is required on the exterior of your property, because they're so tall, most likely you'll need to actually get scaffolding put up outside your house in order for the workers to get to your roof or whatever, you know, piping, whatever it is, needs looking at. So that definitely will increase the cost of having work done to your house, which is not so good. Having a loo or like a toilet on each floor tends to be quite handy, because you don't have to go downstairs or upstairs in order to use the bathroom. So that tends to be a plus of having a townhouse. Some people do complain that the noise that they get from their neighbours is particularly bad in townhouses. I personally don't find that I can hear my neighbours that much. So I think it depends on, I guess, the developer of the townhouse and the quality of the build as well, and that will differ from townhouse to townhouse. I don't think it's like a universal thing that you can hear lots of noise coming through from your neighbour's house. So I personally don't really experience any noise issues. If I do hear my neighbours, I can usually hear, I think, when the husband is running up and down the stairs, like some heavy thumping. But I've lived in terraced houses and a detached house where I could hear just as much noise from my neighbour, if not, more noise from my neighbours when I lived in more traditional housing types compared to living in a townhouse now. So I personally don't agree with the notion that there's lots of noise traffic when you live in a townhouse, but again, it depends on the specific townhouse and the developer and the quality of the build. So don't be put off by that if you see people complaining about that online. Townhouses, generally speaking, are known to be harder to sell than other types of houses. So you may find that your house may end up being on the market longer than you would expect, because again, not everyone, townhouses are not attractive to every type of buyer. You know, it does rule out a lot of elder home purchasers, potentially families with young kids as well. So not everyone is attracted to townhouses, so you may find that it may be slightly harder to sell your townhouse than if you were living in a more traditional house. And then I've got here as well the cleaning. Because you've got that extra floor, it does mean that you know, it will take you longer to clean, especially when it comes to vacuuming the stairs. Oh my god, it is so onerous vacuuming that many stairs. And especially, remember, I've come from a flat where we had no stairs, so I am not used to hoovering stairs at all. Of course it may be good in terms of more exercise, blah blah blah, but you know, it can be a bit annoying having to vacuum so many stairs. So I think I've gone over all of the things that are on my list. As you can see, this list there's so many things written on this piece of paper, but what I've circled here as the main, I guess, takeaways from this is that it really does depend on the layout of your townhouse. Townhouses differ, like they're so different, so don't just completely rule them off from the get-go. You know, look at the floor plan and see where the rooms are situated and if it will work for you and your family. You know, think about how close the bedrooms are. Like, I personally like the layout of this townhouse because on the top floor it's not just one massive master bedroom. A lot of townhouses have the top floor dedicated just to a master bedroom, so that the parents will sleep on a separate floor to, I guess, the kids. Some people like that due to being able to have their own private space, their own privacy for the parents. I personally like this style of townhouse where on the top floor it's like 3 bedrooms or 2 bedrooms, for example, because I just feel like it will help us as parents feel closer to our children if our bedrooms are near, are like close by, and also it will help our children feel close to us, I think, if their bedrooms are near our bedrooms, so we're not like secluded at the top of the house. And I guess that will be good for, in terms of not keeping an eye on your children, but just being able to just make sure that they're safe and well. But overall, I mean, we have personally loved living in our townhouse. It just feels, to me, it feels really luxurious living in such a big house compared to where we used to live, and that definitely is a plus for a lot of people. The amount of space in bedrooms you can potentially you know, come across by living in a townhouse. I think it's, for us, it was like, yeah, we had many houses to pick from, and we chose a townhouse over semi-detached over the other houses that we saw, houses that had bigger gardens, bigger driveways, etc. We just loved the amount of space and, yeah, the space that we could get with this townhouse. So let me know if that was helpful for you, especially if you are at the stage where you're looking at properties online, you're on Rightmove, Zoopla, Prime Location, and you are thinking like, what kind of house may suit me? Have you thought about any other factors about townhouses that I haven't mentioned in this video? Please let us know. Leave a comment, because I'm sure other people will find your observations helpful. Like the video if you found the video useful, and definitely subscribe to the channel for more property related videos like this. I'll speak to you in my next video. Take care.